Hello, and a very warm welcome to the English Podcast.
Hello, everyone.
I'm so happy you're here with us today. Whether you're on your way to work, taking a walk, or just relaxing at home, we are really glad you're tuning in to improve your English.
And I'm Paul. It is great to be here. As always, our goal is to help you build your vocabulary and, improve your listening skills in a way that's clear, easy to understand, and hopefully a little bit of fun.
Exactly. No boring textbooks here, just real conversation.
Right.
And today we have a really nice topic for our deep dive. We're looking at a text simply titled, My Weekend. Now, usually on a deep dive, we might get into a big, complex subject, but today we're going back to basics. We're looking at the foundation of our lives, the daily routine.
It sounds simple, doesn't it? My weekend. But talking about our daily routines is one of the most important things to learn when you're starting with English.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the small talk that builds relationships. I mean, if you can describe your Saturday, you can connect with almost anyone.
Absolutely. Everyone loves the weekend. It's that special time when we can stop working and start living. So, our mission today is to walk through this text step by step.
Right.
We're going to see what this person does, but we aren't just going to read it. We're going to, unpack it.
Right. We're going to look at the vocabulary, yes, but also the hidden grammar. We'll look at how to tell a story using sequence words, and we'll explore the present simple tense, which is really the engine that drives this whole text.
I'm excited. This text is very relatable. It feels like a weekend anyone could have.
Oh.
So, let's start at the very beginning. The text begins with Saturday morning. It says, on Saturday, I wake up at 8 o'clock.
Okay, let's just pause right there. There's a lot happening in that short sentence. First, notice the preposition. We say on Saturday.
Right, on Saturday.
It's on Saturday, not on Saturday. Days of the week, they always take on.
And then we have the time at 8 o'clock. So days get on and times get at. It's a small detail, but getting it right makes you sound so much more fluent, doesn't it?
It really does. Now, look at the verb phrase, wake up. This is a phrasal verb. It's very common for learners to confuse wake up with get up.
Yeah, they do seem similar. What's the main difference there?
Well, wake up is mental. It's the moment you stop sleeping, your eyes open, you're conscious.
Okay.
Get up is physical. It's the moment your feet hit the floor and you leave the bed. You can wake up at 8, but not get up until, say, 8:15.
I am definitely guilty of that. I love staying in bed for a few minutes. Now, the text gives us a reason for this and says, I feel happy because I do not go to school or work.
I think we all know that feeling, that specific feeling of relief. Grammatically, this is a great example of the negative form in the present simple. I do not go.
It's interesting, isn't it? In some languages, you might just say, I no go. But in English, we need that helper verb do. I do not go.
Precisely. It emphasizes the break from the usual routine. Monday to Friday, I go. Saturday, I do not go. It sets the tone for the day. It's a day of freedom.
So the day has officially started. The writer is awake, they're happy, and now they start their morning tasks. The text says, first, I make my bed.
First. Okay, this is a sequencing word. If you want to tell a story that flows well, you need these words. They're like road signs for the listener.
If we didn't use them, it would just sound like a robot list, wouldn't it? I wake up, I make my bed, I wash my face.
Exactly. It sounds very choppy. First tells us, okay, pay attention. The sequence is beginning. And look at the activity itself. Make my bed.
This is a classic collocation words that naturally go together. We don't say do the bed or clean the bed. We say make the bed.
Which can be confusing, I know, because make usually implies creating something new, like making a cake. But here it just means tidying the sheets and pulling up the blanket so it looks neat.
It's a small psychological win to start the day. A clean room helps you have a clear mind.
It does.
The routine continues. It says, then I wash my face and brush my teeth.
So here's our second sequence word. Then it connects the actions. And we see some hygiene vocabulary, wash my face and brush my teeth.
And finally, for this morning block, it says, after that, I go to the kitchen.
After that. So we have the trifecta, first, then, after that. It's a perfect recipe for a narrative.
So the writer is up, the bed is made, they're fresh and clean, they move to the kitchen. It's time for breakfast. The text says, I eat a simple breakfast. I have bread, butter, and jam.
Let's look at that adjective. Simple. In the context of food, simple is actually a very positive word. It means it isn't complicated. It isn't heavy.
Right. It's not a full breakfast with eggs and bacon and all that. It's just the essentials.
Exactly. And notice the verb. It says I have bread, not just I eat bread. In English, we use have for meals all the time. I have breakfast. I have lunch. It sounds very natural.
And what about a drink? The text says, I drink a cup of tea. Sometimes I drink coffee.
So here we see an adverb of frequency. Sometimes, this is really useful. We have always at, 100%, usually at maybe 80%, and sometimes it's down around, say, 30 or 40%.
It adds a bit of variety to the character. They aren't a robot doing the exact same thing every single day.
Exactly.
I'm a coffee person myself. I needed to wake up. But tea is very traditional.
And very calming. Speaking of calm, the next sentence creates such a beautiful image. It says, while I eat, I look outside the window. The street is calm in the morning.
Calm. C-A-L-M. That is a lovely word. The L is almost silent, isn't it?
It is. It's not calm. It's calm.
I'm calm.
It means quiet, peaceful, no stress. It's the opposite of busy or noisy. And look at the grammar of while I eat.
Right.
While indicates two things happening at the same time, eating and looking. It just paints a picture of a slow, mindful morning.
So breakfast is finished. The mood is set. Now we look at the clock. It's 10 o'clock. The text says at 10 o'clock, I go out for a walk.
This is a great phrase to memorize. Go out for a walk. You can just say, I walk, but go out for a walk sounds more like an activity, a leisure pursuit.
And where do they go? I like walking in the park. And it lists 3 things they see. I see trees, flowers, and birds.
Some nature vocabulary. Trees, flowers, birds. It connects the writer to the natural world.
And they also see people with dogs. I love seeing dogs in the park. But this leads to a really interesting social moment. It says, I sometimes say, good morning. People smile and answer me.
And this is a significant cultural point. In many English-speaking countries, it's considered polite to just acknowledge strangers in quiet places like a park.
You don't have to stop and have a big conversation, do you?
No, not at all. It's just a quick signal, a good morning, or even just a nod. It basically means, I see you, I am friendly. It makes the space feel safer.
And the text says, people answer me. So in this context, answer just means they reply, right? They say it back.
Exactly. It reinforces that calm and friendly atmosphere we talked about.
So the morning activity is done. We've had nature, we've had social connection. Now the sun is high in the sky. We're moving to noon.
Noon. Just to be clear for our listeners, noon is exactly 12 p.m., midday.
The text says, at noon, I come back home. I feel a little hungry.
A little. This is a modifier. They aren't starving. They're just, ready for food.
And what's on the menu? I cook lunch. I often cook rice, vegetables, and chicken.
Often. So we saw sometimes earlier. Often is more frequent, maybe 70% of the time. It suggests a habit, a healthy habit, too.
And the writer evaluates their own cooking. They say, it is easy and good.
2 simple adjectives. Easy means the process is not difficult. And good refers to the taste. It's delicious.
Simple, healthy, easy, good. Sounds perfect. But sadly, after we cook and eat, there's always work to do.
That's the reality of life. The text says, after lunch, I clean the table and wash the dishes.
Wash the dishes. We can also say do the dishes, right?
Yes, do the dishes and wash the dishes are completely interchangeable. They mean the same thing.
It's a chore, but it feels good when the kitchen is clean. So, morning is done, lunch is done. Now we are moving into the afternoon. It says, in the afternoon, I relax.
Relax. That is the magic word for the weekend. But what does relaxing actually look like? The text gives us options. I read a book or listen to music. Sometimes I watch a movie.
These are solitary activities, things you do alone to sort of recharge your battery.
Notice the word or. Read a book or listen to music. It implies a choice. They don't do everything at once.
But then the text adds a condition. This is really important grammar. It says, if the weather is nice, I meet a friend.
The if clause. This is a conditional sentence. The plan depends on the weather. If it's raining, maybe they stay home. But if the sun is shining, the plan changes.
And what do they do with a friend? We sit in a cafe and talk.
Going to a cafe is such a common social activity. It's a neutral space. You don't have to clean your house for a guest.
You just meet at the coffee shop.
Exactly.
And what do they talk about? The text is very specific.
Yeah.
We talk about life, work, and our plans.
Plans. P-L-A-N-S. This refers to the future. What are you going to do next week? Where do you want to travel? It shows a close friendship.
It sounds like a lovely afternoon, a mix of alone time and social time. Now, the day is winding down. We're moving to the evening. The text says, in the evening, I prepare dinner.
Note the verb change here. For lunch, the writer cooked. For dinner, they prepare.
Is there a big difference?
Well, Cook usually implies heat, the stove or the oven. Prepare is broader. You can prepare a salad without cooking anything, and that fits the meal described next.
Yes, the text says, dinner is light, I eat soup or a salad.
Light. In this context, light is the opposite of heavy. A heavy meal might make you feel sleepy or too full. A light meal is easy to digest.
It's a very healthy way to eat before sleeping. After dinner, the routine focuses on comfort. Then I take a shower and wear comfortable clothes.
Let's look at that word comfortable. It's a long word, and the pronunciation can be a bit tricky. It looks like comfortable.
But we usually squash it together, don't we?
We do. Native speakers usually say comfortable, 3 syllables. Comfortable.
Comfortable. And what are comfortable clothes?
Pajamas, sweatpants, a soft t-shirt, clothes that make you feel relaxed. You're signaling to your brain that the day is over.
Exactly. So the writer is clean, fed, and comfortable. We're now in the nighttime phase. It says, before I sleep, I use my phone for a short time.
For a short time. That shows good discipline. It's very easy to look at your phone for hours.
So easy. And what's the purpose? I send messages to my family.
Send messages. In modern English, this almost always means text messages like WhatsApp or iMessage. It's not a phone call.
The content is simple. Hi, how are you? And the family answers, we are fine.
It's a quick check-in. It maintains that family connection without needing a long conversation. It's a really nice way to end the day.
And finally, the day ends. I go to bed at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock, a consistent, reasonable time.
And the feeling, I feel calm and ready for Sunday.
Ready for Sunday. That implies that the routine of Saturday has really worked. They've recharged their energy.
Speaking of Sunday, the text gives us a quick summary. It contrasts it with Saturday. It says, on Sunday, I wake up later.
Later. So if Saturday was 8 o'clock, maybe Sunday is 9 or 10. There's no alarm clock on Sunday.
The text uses a beautiful idiom here. I take my time.
Oh, I love that phrase. To take your time means you do not rush. You move slowly, you enjoy the process, there's no stress.
It sounds lovely. The description of Sunday is slow and peaceful.
Peaceful, full of peace. It echoes that word calm from Saturday, doesn't it? It's a day for the soul.
And the activities for Sunday. I rest, think, and prepare for the new week.
Think, that's an introspective activity. And prepare for the new week. This is a smart strategy. Maybe get their clothes ready for Monday or check their calendar. It helps to prevent that shock when the work week starts.
And that is the whole text. It ends with a question for us, the readers. It says, that is my weekend. What about yours?
I like that ending. It turns the conversation over to you, the listener. It invites you to use the English you've just learned.
So let's summarize what we've uncovered. We haven't just read a story. We've looked at the building blocks of a narrative.
We certainly have. We looked at sequence words first, then after that. They're the glue that holds a story together.
We looked at collocations, those natural word pairs like make my bed, have breakfast, go for a walk.
Do the dishes.
Yes.
And we looked at modifiers and frequency, words like sometimes, often, a little, and light. These words add so much color to your sentences.
And we even touched on culture. The politeness of greeting people, the cafe culture, and the whole idea of a simple breakfast.
It really shows that even a beginner text is packed with learning points if you just look closely.
So here's our challenge to you. The text asked, what about yours? We want you to try and describe your own weekend routine.
Yes. Don't just think, I sleep. Push yourself to use the structures we talked about today. Try to use a sequencer. Say, first, I make coffee.
Ask yourself, do you have a light dinner? Do you take your time on Sunday? Do you go out for a walk if the weather is nice?
Try to narrate your next Saturday as it happens. When you're brushing your teeth, say to yourself, I am brushing my teeth. When you're making your bed, say, first, I make my bed. Connecting the physical action to the English words is the fastest way to learn.
That's great advice. It grounds the vocabulary in your actual life. And remember, consistency is key. Just like the writer has a routine for their weekend, having a routine for your English is so important.
Absolutely. A little bit every day or listening to a deep dive like this every week, it makes a huge difference over time.
Well, this has been a really pleasant one. I feel more relaxed just talking about this calm weekend.
Me too. It makes me look forward to next Saturday.
Thank you so much for listening today. We hope you learned some new words, understood the grammar a little better, and feel more confident with your listening.
Yes, thank you for being here. Don't forget to practice describing your weekend.
We will see you next time for another deep dive. Have a wonderful, peaceful weekend, everyone.
Goodbye.